One mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different.
One mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bob?
One mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host.
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
What up? Welcome back from the weekend. Welcome in to the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com. I'm also on the Spreaker app, so make sure you guys go ahead and download that situation. Go to your app store, whether you're using Windows or Apple or Android, and download that for all your mobile devices so you can take me everywhere with you. I'm also on the TuneIn app if you already got that situation on your phone. And I'm also on the One Mic with BigMike.com website. That is the number one. MICWITHBIGMIKE.com. I'm also streaming live video right now on the Facebook page, Facebook.com/One Mic with Big Mike. Streaming live video where you guys can be a part of the show by commenting below the video. You can also text me at 404-902-8104, or you can jump inside the live interactive chat room provided to me by Spreaker. All you got to do is, if you're listening via Spreaker, or the app, or my website, just click on that little thought bubble icon and you'll be right in the building. While you're clicking things, make sure you click on the little heart icon as well to indicate that you like the show. And while you're clicking on the heart icon, click on that little share icon as well, so you can share me with all your friends on Facebook and on Twitter and so forth and so on. Make sure I get everything out of here. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, same handle, at One Mic with Big Mike. And I'm also, the show, as a matter of fact, is heard on demand. If you don't get a chance to stick around for the entire show, or if you want to tell your friends about it later on, you can catch it on all the 4 outlets I've mentioned before, as well as on iTunes. Make sure you subscribe, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Follow me on Google Play Music as well, and subscribe to my YouTube, where you can get the video on demand as well as the audio for the show. Now, as far as today's show goes, I mentioned this on Friday, and I'm going to mention it again because I'm not sure. I'm not sure what time the Halloween festivities jump off with the kiddies and all that kind of stuff. And, well, you know what? I did notice my damn doorbell just rang a little while ago. So I guess it's already going on. But for those of you who may be going out a little bit later than now, it's 7 o'clock Eastern time right now. If you're going out a little bit later, I made this little ghetto public service announcement on Friday. I'll do it again today. Make sure. Please be sure to keep your eyes on the babies and on the kiddies. You know, even if you got to put them on a leash, you feel me? Or you got to just make sure you always holding their hands or whatnot, because here where I'm from in Decatur, I remember maybe it was a couple of years ago, maybe a little girl got hit by a car, and there was no foul play involved. You know, the guy, I guess, was coming home or going to work or something like that. And just didn't see the little girl. And her mom or her parent, I'm not sure if it was a mom or dad, just turned their head for a second. And in that split second, that short amount of time, their little girl was gone forever. So, get out. If you're going to do it right and enjoy it and get all the candy you can get. No, I'm not the Halloween or the holiday guy myself, but I know, people still going to go out and do their thing, which you should. If that's your prerogative, go ahead and take care of it while you're doing it. Take care of the business too. Take care of the kiddies out there. Today's show is Monday, so you know what that means. Ben Troupe is going to join me. Former NFL and SEC tight end Ben Troupe is going to join me tonight. We're going to talk about football. We got the first BCS rankings coming to the playoff rankings coming up tomorrow. So I'm not even going to go about the AP rankings like I usually do on Mondays, because now they meant nothing before. Now they totally mean nothing. But he and I will talk about some of the games that went on this weekend. He was down at Florida, Georgia, getting inducted into the Georgia-Florida Game Hall of Fame. So I want to talk to him about that as well. I think that's a pretty big deal. I mean, coming from someone who's never experienced anything close to that, I think that's something cool that I want to holler at them about. I didn't get a chance to see much of it as far as during the game. I wasn't trying to watch the game at all, but I was trying to check it out, see if they did anything at halftime, and apparently they did, but they didn't televise it. They talked about Ben and friend of the Sports Kings, Marcus Stroud, and two other guys got into the Hall of Fame as well, and they talked about Vern Lundquist for the most part of the segment. So I'll ask Ben about that, and we'll talk about some other stuff as well. I got some NFL, some NBA stuff I want to holler at you guys about. The World Series has been extended. The Chicago Cubs were able to grab one at home. I didn't realize, I don't know if I mentioned this the other day, I thought they went 2-2, 1-1-1, but then I thought about it. It makes sense because of the way baseball has to work. That's why the World Series is so quick. It's not like the NBA Finals where NBA Finals takes like a month for 7 games. You know what I mean? Because they're able to space it out. But because like pitching matchups and rest and all that kind of stuff, they kind of do it in baseball the same way they would try to do it in the regular season. So the World Series actually went 2-3-2. So they did the 3 games in Chicago already, and they're going back to Cleveland so Cleveland can try to wrap it up, or so that the Cubs can try to make history and come back from 3-1 down, the way the Golden State or the Cavaliers came back. I got this story I want to share with you guys about some former NBA players that are getting into the weed business. And if you guys listen to my show enough, you know that that's a topic du jour of mine that I kind of like to read about and understand it more and more and more. So I got that coming up. Hopefully I'll be able to get to it. I don't have a lot tonight, so I should be able to get to it. Of course, at the top of the hour of the next hour, I'll do my daily segment on this day where I take a look back into the history of sports and give you guys some factual tidbits and all those things like I mentioned earlier. I'll give you guys my takeaways from the games this weekend, the college football games this weekend. Saw the Hawks play the 76ers. They played early Saturday. I wasn't even aware of it until I just happened to be scrolling through and, the Hawks on. So I got to see the Hawks take on the 76ers. That's going to be a scrappy bunch, that 76ers crew, but they're young. And they got to get used to winning some ball games because they were in the game for a minute with the Hawks, and then the Hawks and all their experience and their system and all that kind of stuff just took over, man, and it ended up being a non-competitive ball game. So I'll give my thoughts on that, or not on that. I'll give my thoughts on what I saw yesterday in the NFL as well. And the big thing that came out of the weekend, and something that I know a lot of you wacky fans love, people railing on the referees. Like, I'm not that big on that. Speaking of the NFL, make sure you guys answer my question of the day as well. It's brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. Shout out to the homie Rob Calloway, man. If you guys are looking at or listening to this on Spreaker, or if you're looking at this on you can't see the artwork, but shout out to my guy Rob Calloway who hooked up the artwork for the day. It's if you don't know what it is, it's a picture of Dee from What's Happening, like pointing her finger, because her famous catchphrase used to be, "Ooh, I'ma tell mama." And so I had Rob, I didn't do it, I had Rob put Cam Newton's face on Dee's head, because yesterday, if you heard what he was talking about with the low hits and all that, and I'll get to it here in just a second, he's going to tell Roger Goodell, I'm going to tell, they hitting me low, Roger, they hitting me in the head, Roger. I got the audio here, so I'll get into it in just a second, but here's the thing, I don't know, like, this stuff with the refs is getting out of hand. I don't mean the refs themselves, I mean the complaining, and I know what's happened. As football fans, you've been reprogrammed. Let's look at the games on Saturday. I cringe every time some kid hits another kid. Kids out there playing aggressively, and heads are knocking and all this kind of stuff. But you hear the commentators. They looking for replay. We need to see that again. Was that targeting? That might have been targeting. You just can't do that. They're trying to get that out of the game. And it's like we've all forgotten for a minute. And I'm trying to remind you guys, it's still football. These are still moving objects. So when you start giving people a strike zone on a moving object, there are going to be some head-to-head contact, some helmet-to-helmet contact. And like this, I'm going to ask Ben about this, and I've been meaning to ask him for a couple of weeks about the college targeting rule. I think it's so stupid, man, the way these kids get punished for just playing aggressive football. I don't look at these games, and I try to watch as many of them in the weekend as I can. I don't see egregious things going on. I don't. You know what I mean? But as well as the same way that we're getting reprogrammed, The players have been programmed too, especially offensive players. Look at it. Every time a wide receiver doesn't catch a ball, what is he doing? Looking at the referee. Every time a wide receiver doesn't catch a ball, look what what's the DB doing? Before he celebrates, he looks around real quick to see if there's any flags. Anytime a quarterback, anytime you whiff him or pass by him, he's looking at the referee for a flag. Like if you ask me, I think there's just too many rules, and I think it all stems from the threat of litigation. The NFL, in case you didn't know, it's a business. You know what I mean? And the first time somebody hollers up that, you know what? Oh my God, head injuries. Let's sue. Which those men had a right to sue. They were lied to. They weren't suing because they experienced head injury. That's what the NFL wants you to believe. They sued because they were lied to. But because people hear what they want to hear and parents are in control of their kids playing football, the NFL has to make or create these initiatives to say, we're going to make this game in which 300-pound men run full speed into each other. We're going to make it safer. You're not. The players are getting bigger. The field isn't. It's staying the same exact size. And the collisions, not the contact, the collisions are happening at a much higher rate of speed. It's like physics. I don't know a whole lot about physics, but I know a bigger object moving a lot faster creates a bigger impact. You can't get a better helmet. You can't get better rules. None of that stuff. Look at what happened this weekend. Apparently, Alex Smith didn't have a concussion. If that's the case, I don't know what one is then. I don't know what a concussion is. If you look at the college game this weekend, did you see that kid DeAndre Francois? I watched him the last couple of weeks get railed and taken out of ball games and put right back in. I watched that kid say, my ears are ringing. I don't know what that is then. If that's not a sign of a concussion. But, yeah, if you Jimbo Fisher, you got to win football games. They lost, by the way. We'll talk about that here coming up. Shout out to Emmett Bean. Emmett Bean listening for the first time or viewing for the first time here on Facebook Live. You guys can join him. All you got to do is go to my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/MICWITHBIGMIKE. You can leave your comments and questions below the Facebook video. I'll make sure I'm checking them. You can also jump inside my live interactive chat room. I'm broadcasting live right now via Spreaker.com, SPREAKER.com, as well as the Spreaker app. And all you got to do if you sign up for your free Spreaker accounts is follow One Mic with Big Mike. Search for One Mic with Big Mike and then follow. And then once you start listening, just click on that little thought bubble icon. You'll be right in the building. You'll be in the live interactive chat room with me. Or, of course, you can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Over the weekend, somebody from, and I didn't see where this, I didn't look up this area code. Somebody from the 304 sent me 2 pictures of, I would assume these are bass. Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. I guess they went fishing and wanted me to know. I'm not a fisher, but, thanks for including me, Thanks for including me in your situation, in your fishing outing or whatnot. I gotta find out where this from. Last week, I got a text from Missouri. This is from the 304, not the 305. That would be like Miami. I don't know where the 304 is. That might be Alabama, maybe. Anyway, you guys can send me all your crazy, stupid, whatever you want to. 404-902-8104. Now back to this stuff about these referees. A couple of guys had a bunch to say. The Seahawks felt like they got jobbed. They got hit with a bunch of penalties against the New Orleans Saints this past weekend. The New Orleans Saints, that badass football team, who, by the way, they're like one game out of first place in the South now when I look at it, right? The Falcons are 5-3, and they're like 3-4. That's one game, right? Like 1.5 games, something like that. Yeah, I thought the Falcons were – it would feel like the Falcons were running away with this damn thing, but they obviously aren't. But anyway, I think the Seahawks had like 11 penalties. And Earl Thomas spoke about it after the game. He said they weren't allowing us to play. We play a physical style of football, and every time we touch someone, we would get a penalty. He even got a penalty for hugging the referee, which I'll say this about that. What we have to understand, because like as fans, you guys are looking at him like, that's stupid. He wasn't trying to do nothing. He was just hugging the referee. But here's the thing about that, though. Here's the thing. the referees get graded too. And any contact with the referee is a foul. So for the referee not to get downgraded when his assessment comes out on Monday or Tuesday, whenever it is, he's got to flag Earl Thomas for that. As stupid as it may be, and there was nothing egregious there, guess what? He got to do his gig, and Earl got to calm the hell down. You know what I mean? Richard Sherman talked about how the flags were egregious, and I'll remind you guys about this. I will remind you about this. All you Falcons fans, apparently the homie Emmett is a Saints fan. Shout out to Zach Hagan. He's in the building. He's checking in on Facebook. What up to you, homie? I want to remind you guys, if I can get it out in English, about what I said after the Seahawks played the Falcons. That, all the Falcons fans was like, oh my God, that was pass interference. They're pass interference. The referee cheating for the Seahawks. Nah, they not. They missed a call. And in the course of a 16-game season, those things they tend to find their way back to you. You know what I mean? Like the Falcons end up getting theirs back. There'll be a call against the Falcons in a crucial time during the season that maybe they shouldn't get, or a non-call that they get that they should have gotten, if that makes sense. And you see it catching up with the Seahawks. 11 penalties to 2, and their gripe was that on offense, the Saints were running a lot of those pick plays. Don't let anybody keep telling you illegal pick plays. The term pick in football, it already denotes illegal. You don't have to double down on it. You don't have to get redundant with it. It's an illegal pick play. No, it's a pick play. If it's not a pick, it's a rub, and that's not illegal. You understand the difference? All right. So my point is, for the Seahawks, they won one that maybe they shouldn't have. Now you come back and they lost one that maybe they feel like they should have won. It was, 20-25? Very close game all the way to the end. Russell Simmons, not the dude from Def Comedy Jam. Russell Wilson had an opportunity to hit, was it Jermaine Curse in the back of the end zone? And he threw the ball a little bit too long, and my man came down out of bounds. And thus his life in the NFL, right? It's just how things go. Then it was Josh Norman. Josh Norman and the boys went over to London, came away with a tie. Oh, did I mention the question of the day? I didn't, did I? The question of the day is this. Why? Why do you care? Like, as a football fan, why the hell do you care if two teams tie? You just care because they tell you should care, because that dumbass saying, it's like kissing your sister. Like, I don't know about all that. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. But, yeah. Why are you, like, if you're not a Seahawks fan, or if you're not a Cardinals fan, the two teams that tied last week, and if you're not a Bengals fan or a Redskins fan, yeah, why the hell do you even care? The game, like that Seahawks Cardinals was trash, but the Bengals and the Redskins game was cool. It was cool. You got to see AJ Green get busy. Josh Norman made some plays or whatever. The Redskins made some plays as a whole. That kid, what the hell is his name? He wears number 80. He made plays. Jordan Reed made plays. I mean, the game was played pretty well, and then it ended up in a tie. Let's go home. Like, people like, just have them play until somebody wins. Come on, man. It's NFL football. This ain't, you know what I mean? These dudes is out here half killing each other. You can't just make them keep playing. At some point, you got to stop. You got to just stop for the sake of viewership. Not like, I ain't all about like, guys going to get hurt. Guys will get, increasingly injured. But even more than that, the quality of the game turns to crap. And I mean, if you guys listen to my show enough, I don't believe in watching bad sports. You can miss me with that whole nonsense. If it's bad, I got to bounce. And that's what you risk happening if you just say continue to play. Nah, you get a tie, and at the end of the year, it boils down to, depending on where you end up. It happened to the Falcons many a year back. And at the end of the year, it ends up being either a half win or a half loss, depending on the situation that you're in and where you're going. The Bengals suck. The Redskins are in it, kind of in the NFC East. The Cardinals suck, and the Seahawks are in it. So there's that. You know what I mean? People, you guys want to change rules, not understanding that all the stuff that we're talking about this week or following this weekend about these referees, a lot of it comes from that rule after rule after rule after rule being changed and twerked and tweaked and all this kind of stuff. Nah, man, just the game is simple, man. It's blocking, tackling, running, throwing, catching. It's real simple, but it gets convoluted when other interests get involved. You know, TV ratings are a big deal, of course, because you want sponsorship dollars and all this kind of stuff. So the league decided to put an emphasis on offensive football, which means you can't touch the referee. You can't touch the quarterback. You can't touch the wide receivers past 5 yards. Meanwhile, Josh Norman was right. You know, AJ Green can push off. These guys get away. Like, you might see in the course of a year, think about it. You might see somewhere between 5 and 10 offensive pass interferences, and I may be being generous when I say 5 and 10. It may be closer to 5 and 10 in a year across the league. You know what I mean? And I try to watch a lot of the games. You know what I mean? Think about how many defensive holdings, and I'm not saying that they're not valid, but defensive holding, illegal contact, pass interference. It's like three different penalties that come under one category. Like, don't touch the wide receivers, because it's basically the question, the answer to that question. Don't touch these dudes, because we want points on the board. We want to accentuate the game and profile the game to fringe fans. This dude is crazy. Emmett Bean is like, he's saying it doesn't really matter. I guess he's talking about the ties. He don't really care, and it's better than losing. I can, like, here's the thing. Let me say this too. I understand why, if you're a player, why you're pissed off about it, or why you wouldn't know how to, like AJ Green's like, I don't know how to feel about it. I can understand that, because of the fact that, you know what you do? You work all week long. And it's almost like you study for this test, and then you really don't even get a grade. I mean, it's like, I studied, but how did I do on the test? And, no. Dan Gaisito is in the chat room. He's not in the chat room. Sorry, he's checking in on Facebook Live. Shout out to you, Danny. What I don't get is if my Skins, his Skins, are 4-3-1, and the Eagles are 4-3, and the Giants are 4-3. I gotta click to see more. How does the NFL show us last in the NFC East standings? That has to be. It has to be by. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me either, because you would have a half game with the. Oh, I know why. Because they've only played in 7 games, and the Eagles and the Skins have played 8 games. So that would give you that half a loss in that situation would put you behind them. It wouldn't necessarily be a half a win. They've played less games, so the winning percentage is how it's going down, Danny. The winning percentage puts those teams above the Redskins, your Skins, as you put it. Before I go to break, I want to talk Cam Newton real quick, and I want to give you guys a minute of Cam Newton real quick and what he had to say about the things that happened to him on the football field and how it makes him feel about football.
It's not fun. It's not fun. It's really taking the fun out of the game for me. At times, I don't even feel safe, right? And enough is enough. You know, I plan on talking to Commissioner Goodell about this, and I don't know what I have to do. I mean, I showed a lot of frustration today, and I apologize to the referee, who I was talking to, but I don't think it's a person that can go through what I go through and still keep their head. You know what I'm saying? Hits to the head, that's one thing, but when you're not protected in the pocket, that's another thing. And the story of my life ever since I came in is just, well, we missed that one. I'm sorry. I'll try to get it. That's bullcrap. I just can't keep accepting, we missed that one, or I apologize for doing that, or I didn't see it. When you constantly see the hits, when you constantly see flags being picked up, when you're constantly seeing flags not being thrown, and to see other quarterbacks getting it, lesser hits, lesser physical hits, then it's taking the fun for me out. I'm just being honest with that.
Well, thank you, Cam, for being honest. That's Cam Newton at his press conference yesterday with his pink and green on. My man Danny still don't understand. He said the Skins beat the Giants and the Eagles. Doesn't matter who you beat at this point, Danny. they have a lower winning percentage. That half a loss put them behind just in division. It's a division problem. But anyway, so Cam Newton, Cam has some points. He had some points in the hits that he's taken. That hit yesterday from Calais Campbell, that was kind of dangerous. He got him kind of around the knee area. Now, it wasn't egregious. I don't think Calais Campbell meant to do it, but it happened. And what he's saying is that it doesn't matter if it's egregious or not. Guys get those calls, and he seems to not for whatever reason. I don't know what him talking to Roger Goodell about is going to do, because when you're asking Goodell to do at that point is to take your side over his referees. Sorry, that's not happening. They've got to protect him better, and Cam's got to be smarter. You know what I mean? That play aside, Cam's got to be smart. The play that knocked him out in the last game with the kid down here in Atlanta who kissed him in the mouth and knocked his ass silly. Yeah, dude, you got to finish plays. You got to learn how to slide too. Get your ass down, cuz, and understand. You talk about in that clip, I don't know if I played that portion, but he talked about how important he was to the team. Feel me? Knowing that, you got to protect yourself, cuz. That whole idea of, I'm big, I can do this and all that does to a defender when they see that guy. Like, I ain't trying to get him. Did you see that dude a couple weeks ago get embarrassed by Matt Stafford? You know what I mean? Like, you run up on Cam, light-footed if you want to. You're going to get embarrassed on national TV. So dudes is coming extra strong, and dudes is launching their bodies, trying to put every bit of momentum behind themselves to hit this dude because he's that guy. And he plays that way, too. And the other thing is, too, dudes got old ladies. They got kids at the crib. Like, Cam like to talk. Feel me? And it's all entertaining and all that dancing. It's cool. Right? Until the dude catch your ass. Cam like to talk and do first downs and all this kind of stuff. Cool, fine, and dandy. Right? Until one of them dudes catch your ass. And, like, dudes ain't really... I can understand these defenders being like, well, damn, they ain't call it. Let's hit his ass again like that. Because I heard Teddy Bruschi talk about that after that first game, that opening night against the Denver Broncos. He said, like, defenders would come to the sideline and be like, wait a minute. They letting us play today. Let's get him. and that seems to be the message amongst defenses and defenders when it comes to Cam Newton. So I know a lot of people. I saw a lot of stuff on social media, like Cam's being a B and he's crying and all that. Look, dude, it ain't for me to call that. You know what I mean? Because it looked like it hurt. It looked like it hurt a lot too. So I ain't gonna call no dude no punk because he's showing frustration. And also, I want to mention this to you guys, too. For anybody who ever gets into their head that, why are these dudes asking them the same question over and over again? What you didn't hear in that clip, Cam was trying not to answer the question. He gave him, I think he gave him, 2 next questions. But then finally, he was like, damn it, F it. I'm about to let it all rip. That's why. That's why professionals and journalists do that. Because the soundbite is there to be gotten. You just got to find a way to get it. And now, that. Feel me? Shout out to the homie Emmett Bean, checking the show out on Spreaker in the chat room right now. You guys can join him in the chat room if you like. Just go to Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app, sign up for your free Spreaker account, and then follow my show. Search for me, One Mic with Big Mike, and follow me, and then hit that little thought bubble icon. Boom. You're inside the live interactive chat room. If that's too much trouble, you can always text me at 404-902-8104, or do like the homies have, Emmett and Danny them. In the they leave the comments below the live streaming video. I'm streaming live video right now, Facebook Live. The Facebook page is facebook.com/ the number 1 MICWITHBIG MIKE. I'll be back in about 90 seconds to holler at my man Ben Troupe, all new, the brand new Hall of Famer Ben Troupe. Feel me? We're gonna do it next. It's Troupe Talk.
Well, I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And now, back to One Mic.
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
With Big Mike.
I'm gonna put it down, you gonna fall in love. I'm gonna put it down,
you gonna fall in love. I'm gonna put it down, you gonna fall in love. I'm gonna put it down, you gonna fall in love. I'm gonna put it down. Yeah, that Brandy and Chris Breezy. Right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. It is a Monday. Back from the weekend. I hope everybody had a decent weekend. I hope everybody out there planning on going and doing any trick-or-treating and all that kind of stuff. You guys be safe out there. I'm here, man. Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. I'm also on TuneIn. And, of course, the One Mic with BigMike.com website every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget, you can also catch the show on demand on all those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube, where you can catch the video and the audio. Speaking of video, I'm streaming live video right now on Facebook Live. It's on Facebook.com/the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE. I almost lost my train of thought there. Anyway, like I said, it's Monday, man. So every Monday we do this thing called Troupe Talk. My man, the brand new Hall of Famer, Ben Troupe, joins me so we can talk some ball.
It's time for Troupe Talk.
What you talking about? What you doing?
We're talking NFL and college football with former NFL and SEC tight end Ben Troupe.
Ben Troupe at the 15, at the 10, hurdles a man, spins to the 5. Oh my! Still on his feet, still pounding to the goal line. He's gonna score! He's gonna score!
Troupe Talk. Troupe Talk.
We heading to the top if you come on.
On One Mic with Big Mike.
Yeah. The Hall of Famers in the building. What's good, baller?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I mean, to even have that, even be, calling me Hall of Fame, man, some humbling stuff, man. I mean, as my, things like that don't happen to people like myself, but I thank God for making a believer out of me.
My man, they did it real big too. I didn't even realize it was like one of those situations where you get a bust and all that. Did you get a jacket too? Like, what did you get, man? Tell us about the weekend.
Well, it was great, man. You get an opportunity to go. It was me, Scott Warner, and Jeff Chandler, and Marcus Stroud.
Right.
And you go to a luncheon, and I can't remember his name. I don't want to be disrespectful to him. Another guy, the guy from SEC. He only do SEC games.
Vern Lundquist.
Yeah, Vern. Man, listen, I got to get enshrined with this man. That's prestige right there. That's legendary. So, and what ended up happening was, we get to speak, and you trying your best to keep it together. You trying to act like this type of thing happens every day.
You cried, dog?
I try to keep it together, man. I try. At the end, man, it got because you know how it is, Mike. It's one of those things to where when it really started hitting you, like, dang, man, like because Hall of Fame means you being acknowledged by by your peers or by people that watch you play. It's one thing to think, okay, I think I'm a pretty good player, but to know that, man, I'm going to be, because Florida, Georgia is the core essence of football. It's why we love football. It's why, it's just like why football is like religion to us. But, man, I mean, when you standing up there and it's really hit you like, dang, man, these people bought tickets, to come see me speak.
No
and
doubt.
It was great, man, to be able to acknowledge my family. And I'm right beside Jeremy Foley, the former AD of the University of Florida. He's telling me how proud he is of it, man. I mean, I'm just like, man, this is a surreal moment, but it was great, man. The whole weekend was great.
Good, man. I love it when good things happen to good people, man, and you one of the best. I actually have the speech. I saw you posted the video, and I saved it on Facebook, but I haven't gone back to look at it now. So now that I know you cried, I'm going to go back and look at it for sure.
And you know how grown men are. We cry, man. When we can't get a word out, it's one of those things. It just lets you know we never do it.
Right.
We save all our tears for funerals or we don't cry.
Well, you got to shoot me or something. I'm talking right now. The Florida Gators. All-American tight end from 2003. He's also a second-round pick for the Tennessee Titans and a brand-new Georgia-Florida game Hall of Famer. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram, y'all, at Ben, Troupe 84. Dude, so you were at the game. We saw that terrible Georgia squad get smashed in by your University of Florida squad. But you know what else came out of this game, dude? Kentucky, not necessarily out of this game, but where the hell did Kentucky come from? Kentucky's in second place right now, and UT got it pushed in by South Carolina, so that's that situation. But if Florida loses 2 out of the next 3, and they got Arkansas and LSU, and here, Ben, is where that move from Florida to LSU might come into play, and then UT, I think if they win 2 of their last 3, they go to Atlanta. What's going on, dog?
You know what? One thing I can say is that Tennessee loss by us and that LSU game actually getting moved to November the 19th is actually showing a lot of significance now. Even this weekend, I mean, people ain't talking enough about taking nothing away from Stoops is doing with Kentucky. I think he's doing a remarkable job, but LSU, they still control their destiny too.
Yep.
And it's one of those things to where what I appreciate is we want late season football to matter, and all these games are gonna matter now. I mean. And the one thing about Florida we cannot do is what happened against Arkansas with other teams, that was that game. Because if you look at the Florida-Georgia game, the game could have went a lot different. Guys dropping wide open passes. Somebody need to tell Nick Easton, stop running to the sideline and trying to throw the ball back across. Stop. I'm a Georgia fan. I'm like, what is this boy doing? Nick Easton and Luke Del Rio are the only 2 quarterbacks in college football history that jump when they throw. I'm like, what is it? It's like, he's wide open. Let me throw it and jump. I'm like, come on, man. But, I mean, I do think Kentucky, you know, they got a shot because they playing good football. Florida, we obviously know that we got to take care of business starting this weekend. And LSU, you know, they got a big one. You know, Alabama, LSU is always big. But I like the fact that these games matter because, you know, towards the end of the season, a lot of teams already locked up a lot of stuff. Right. I like the fact that every game is still out there.
We got a big weekend this past weekend. 4 of the undefeateds went down. Boise went down. Nebraska went down. Who were the other 2 that went down this weekend, Ben?
Who did I can't even think of the one. Wyoming beat somebody. I can't remember.
That was Boise.
Oh, that was Boise.
Yeah, we got,
Nebraska. It'll come to me. But you know what? You know what it shows too? It's a lot of pressure to be undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
If Clemson, and take nothing away from them, that was one of the worst calls ever. It was a lot of bad calls this weekend. But that call on that fullback, man, that Dalvin Cook touchdown, that was kind of rough.
But let's talk about Jimbo Fisher in that situation. Like, I don't know if you saw the pregame speech when he's telling these dudes how the tough guys, they're the guys that can still keep their heads through adversity and all this kind of stuff. And he's the one preaching it. But he then loses his head and costs his team 15 yards, and that kind of changed the whole complexion of the ball game. That one penalty from him on the sideline, because I'm looking at it like, look, Dalvin Cook has been running the ball very effectively. Yeah, it's 60 yards brought back, but you can block it up and do it again if need be. But then when you put yourself in a 15-yard hole and you ask this kid, DeAndre Francois, who, by the way, Ben, I don't care what nobody said, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, this kid has been concussed every game and playing.
Yeah,
that's some bull crap. But yeah, let's talk about Jimbo Fisher real quick. Where does he play in the role of that loss?
Gotta have your composure. One thing coaches always preach to players is move on. Gotta have a short memory. Keep your composure. And they give you this whole sideline to have a rant. You start running on the field. You start making, because you got to think, man, listen, nobody goes more crazy on the sideline than Harbaugh. But he finds a way to not penalize his team. Mm-hmm. Is he going to get in the ref's face? Is he going to go to bat for his players? Yes, every coach does. But like you say, in that situation, Dalvin Cook, it just took him 4 seconds to run 60 yards. He can do it again. That's the same defense he's going up against. That's the same offensive line blocking for him. I just think that when Jimbo, in my opinion, he's super exceeded expectation based off of past teams, and he just expect them to be able to turn it on. But Jameis Winston ain't coming out that locker room. He's just not. And the thing about Jimbo Fisher that people don't talk about enough, Jimbo Fisher will be the one team every time they step on the field. No other team has more talent than them on no side of the football, and they find a way to not win games. And Francois, I do believe, like you just said, if they don't find a better way to protect that boy, he's not going to have no college career because he can't take those type of hits. He ain't built for that type of punishment.
My goodness. The other teams that we forgot to mention were West Virginia lost, that Big 12 garbage, and Baylor.
Yeah.
Baylor. Charlie Strong did something, dude.
Shay, man, listen. Shout out to Coach Strong, man. Last year, it was the Red River rivalry, and I think you beat Baylor last year. Listen, certain games help keep you your job, man, and I like what he said. He said, listen, I still believe in this team. We going in the right direction, no matter what nobody say. He's speaking to the boosters. He's speaking to the alumni. Man. I'm talking right to y'all because y'all make it seem like Coach Mack won every year. He won one national championship. He won one. Y'all trying to act like the man won 30.
And think about
think
about the other thing he did too, because tomorrow night they're gonna have to do this this selection thing for the BCS playoffs. Yeah, the last thing they want to do is have Baylor and all them sex scandals and all that stuff. They don't want to have no conversation about that. So Charlie Strong kind of saved them a little headache because ain't nobody trying to talk about that. These dudes going undefeated and then having a case to be in the Final Four. Ain't nobody trying to have that.
Oh
man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you know how it is now. You know what they really doing. Another thing the playoffs do, it really put these young men in a position of what to know what it's like to go to the Super Bowl and have media day.
Mm-hmm.
Because anything that they can bring up, and Baylor got a laundry list of stuff. It's so much stuff they would have been talking about that has nothing to do with football because, like somebody say, you can't just sweep it under the rug and just because your team is playing well, that stuff still don't go away.
Right.
We just focusing on the games, but appreciate you, Coach Strong, man. You always got a big one in you each week, and I think that's enough to let people know it ain't going to happen in a year or two or maybe even 3, but you stick with that man because the University of Houston head coach, he's not getting the job. That's not happening.
You don't think so? You know, because
not because of. Listen, man, you know, Houston's supposed to be a team to run the table. You losing games, and you think you can step off a seat that's lukewarm and go to Austin? Oh no.
You know what I think though? I kind of like once the Big 12 decided they weren't expanding and they weren't going to get into the Power 5, things started falling apart for those kids. Man, it's almost like they were anticipating that happening. And then when it didn't, they was like, oh, man, forget it then. You know, because they ain't going to let us in no damn playoff over here at Houston. I'm talking right now. It is Troupe Talk, by the way, on a Monday. Talking to Ben Troupe. He's a former NFL and SEC tight end. And now, brand new, Georgia-Florida game Hall of Famer. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Ben, TEROUPE 84. 2 more things I got for you in the college game. Let's talk about the top 4. Who you got in the top 4 since they're doing this selection thing? Sorry about that. This selection thing tomorrow.
I got to go. I mean, Alabama's obviously, they should have gold standard. Clemson, Michigan, and I'm gonna go Washington. I mean, until Washington falters, I'm gonna give those people those respect. I'm gonna say, well, they haven't played nobody. Should have had some big wins. So I'm listen. If you got a 0 next in the right column, and you ain't got no losses, I gotta respect that right now.
Yeah, they just had a tough one against Utah. Our guy Lamar Jackson, they kind of struggled a little bit against the Virginia team that I think they were like a 30-point favorite on. They kind of took them down to the wire. Some people are calling it his Heisman moment, that 29-yard touchdown at the end. But then some people are saying other guys kind of crept in. This kid from San Diego State, this running back that's supposed to be pretty good. I haven't seen him this year. He's supposed to be going for like 2,000 yards, a couple of 200-yard games. Donnell Pumphrey is his last name. Speaking of running backs, I didn't read this story, and I don't know if you did. The kid, Jalen Hurd from Tennessee, is like, I'm out of here.
Man,
what's the story behind that? I didn't read the whole. I just saw the headline. He's just like, I'm gone. Peace.
Two words, man. Broken promises.
Oh.
See, the problem is, the problem when it comes to these kids is, Butch Jones and told Jalen Hurd, listen, I know we're going to this spread offense, man, but you're still going to be a focal point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the only reason why I'm leading the team in rushes is because I get the most carries. That don't mean I'm a part of this offense, because if you watch Tennessee the last couple of games, Jalen Hurd has been non-existent because they fattened him out. So this is the only thing about it. While I respect the fact that the young man wants to finish his career, he's moving to either tight end or receiver. So I don't know how he definitely ain't going to receiver. I mean, the boy's 6'4", 240, and he ain't the fastest. So can he move to tight end? I can see it, but I respect the fact that he wants to finish his college career. But my dude, you the starting running back at the University of Tennessee. If Butch Jones can't find a way to get you in the offense, that's Butch Jones' fault. But I can respect the fact that the man is willing to walk away. I just think it's a crazy, time right now to do it. I mean, you was in freaking tour days. You could see how they was using you then. How they use you then is how they're gonna use you in the games. And unfortunately for Tennessee, Joshua Dobbs is their
running back. Yeah. And it's crazy, man, that after that frenetic start that Tennessee had, they've kind of fallen off. They're out of the top 25 this week. And Butch Jones, his seat is getting a little bit high because of all the expectation that was on him for this year. Let's move on to pro football, man. Had a couple of ties in pro football. You're a guy who played, so I got to get your perspective from both sides. And I was talking about it before you came on. Like, I can see it from like a player's side. Like, you work your ass off all week. You want a definitive result to your work. You want to either say, all right, we prepared properly and we fell short, or we prepared properly and everything fell into place the way we wanted to. When you end up in a tie, it's almost like, all right, what do we say now? But from a fan's perspective, if you're not a fan of any of the 4 teams that tied, why should I care that 2 teams tied? I just want good football. And if it ends up with 2 teams locked in at 27 points, I think I'll be all right. And that, by the way, that is our question of the day, brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. First of all, as a fan, why should I care? And what is that feeling like? Or what do you anticipate? I don't know if you ever were a part of a tie, but what is that feeling? You can anticipate that feeling being like as a player.
As a player, it's unfinished business. It's like what just happened? Like, I mean, are they better than us? Are we better than them? You know what happens in a tie, though? You're battling fatigue. You ain't necessarily battling the other team at that point. Your body is built for 60 minutes, and now it's like a battle of attrition. Think about it. It took us 60 minutes to get to this. The finals, so we give y'all one more quarter. And my mom would always say, "Why don't they just do it like college?" I say, "Mom, because they want to play real football. You don't cut off, 65% of the field. Going in. It's just they really make them play football, but it's just a battle of attrition, man. I just think teams ain't built to sustain that long. That's why when people want to know what would happen if they go to 18 games or 20 games, it'll look like that.
Man, yeah.
It'll look just like that when you're talking about overtime, because a person, the average human body can only stand so much, man, and you've given so much for so long. So I just think it just shows that, for one, Thursday night football and these London games, if they don't keep on, they're going to cut both of them out, because you're trying to add to the entertainment, and you actually take it from it.
Yeah, they trash. Speaking about guys who are entertainers, my man Cam Newton, when he got in the league, said he wanted to be an icon and an entertainer. And last year, it seemed to prove true. But this year, he's getting knocked around a lot. And in his press conference yesterday, he had a lot to say about the way the referees are I guess, officiating him. And you and I talked about this after that first game, after that Thursday night opener. And here's the thing about it, Ben, and I talked about this before you came on. I feel like as consumers of the product, we've been mentally conditioned or reconditioned to see things in a different way. Like, I can still remember Jason Taylor breaking Peyton Manning's jaw. I can still remember that like it was yesterday. And the press conference when my man had like the cotton in his mouth and he couldn't even talk. Till now, fast forward some years, and now everything makes people say, "Oh my God, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't." But we've been totally reconditioned. And I want to ask you, a guy who played in the early 2000s, to a guy who's now a consumer like I am, what do you think about that concept, first of all? Let me just ask you that. What do you think about the concept that I'm throwing out? That the game is definitely, to me, is not rougher or tougher than it was, but we react differently to the things that we see with all the slow motion. We got the ultra HD and all these different angles. It feels like the referees are terrible because they're missing everything that we get to see 37 times. What do you think about that? Am I off base?
No, you're not off base. I mean, the one thing I always say, is it football or not? Because if it is, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think what happens is, but the thing about Cam Newton that's very, very interesting is this. Peyton Manning misses the whole season due to a neck injury. You can't hit quarterbacks high. Tom Brady goes out first game of the season, because he gets hit below the, you can't hit quarterbacks low. Now, this is the problem. People get mad the way, it's not that Cam talks about getting hit, it's the way in which he talks about getting hit. But think about it. I mean, you can't hit a quarterback live. Not only are they hitting Cam high, they literally trying to rip his head off of his body. If Calais Cam was going low on him, this is what I didn't like today. I saw a bunch of these officials saying, if Cam Newton wants to be protected, he needs to stay inside the pocket. Well, he's staying inside the pocket.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, everybody knows this. The quarterback has a different set of rules for him. It's a different set of rules. And the thing about Cam doesn't get the benefit of the doubt at all. I'm talking about you can't say, well, he's a different kind of specimen. He's a specimen at quarterback. That's how he looks. That's how he's built. And the fact Cam Newton can lose 20 pounds and he's still bigger than these other quarterbacks. Right. He's still going to be bigger than them.
He's bigger than linebackers.
Exactly. I just think that Cam Newton is the type of guy. He is one of the faces of the league. This is the ex-MVP of the league, and you mean to tell me you can't see these it's like, and I'm going to tell you what they're doing that they don't realize, right? Whenever it goes unpunished, those defenses are being told they're not going to call it.
That's what I just said. I said it before you came on.
If you're not calling it against Cam, they're not going to do it against us. They're not going to do it against these other players. They're not. It's to the point where because it's not getting called, that behavior is being, you actually, saying it's okay. And the thing about it is, it's not an if, and I hate to say this, when Cam Newton goes down from one of those hits, this officiating crew needs to be, because it's just crazy, man. You got one of the faces of the NFL, one of the ambassadors, one of the biggest ambassadors in the NFL. I got the true, and I don't know who his stylist is, because this boy wear anything. Good Lord. But it's just like, we'll talk about that on another show, but it's like, I listen, if the MVP says something, the NFL needs to listen. And I don't think they're listening to this boy right now.
As it pertains to the refs, because you just talking about that, could it be that the NFL has kind of just inundated us with so many rules and inundated the referees with so many rules? The players are so much bigger and faster, and the game is moving at like hyper speed. I asked this question last week on like I don't know, Facebook or something. Like what is an acceptable percentage of plays for an NFL referee? Do you need them to be at 100%? Do you need to be at 95? Do you need what's an acceptable percentage of getting calls right for a referee? Because I would assume they get 90-something% right.
You know what? It's the Chris Webber. It's the Chris Webber walking call. The whole world saw him walk.
I got you.
The whole world saw him walk when he's at Michigan. Mm-hmm. Look at the fans. We talking about something that the average person, not even fan, can see. If the average person looking at the camera, dang, man, they might want to flag that. Now, this is a person that might not even know the game like you and I. Listen, referees are human. Human error is a part of it. We talking about blatant. You have a referee on the field. His one thing is to look at the quarterback. That's all he has. He don't have the game. He got the QB. So if now, my dude, we looking at the whole game. We just happen to notice that Cam got robbed. All you got is Cam,
right,
and you still ain't calling it. I believe it is a culture when it comes to Cam Newton, just like it was a culture when it came to Michael Vick. They don't call it. Michael Vick got roughed up even more. That's why his career really came to the difference is one is 6'5", 250, the other was 6 feet, 200, and his body just. I just think that. When it comes to the referees, you don't got to be 100%. You just got to be efficient. And if some of this stuff ain't efficient, man, it's like you ain't looking at the same game I'm looking at. When Cam Newton say, I do believe refs say, my bad, Cam, I ain't get that one. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Your job is to make sure that these guys are playing within the rules. And I'm sitting back here as a 6'5", 250-pound statue, and these dudes trying to rip my head off, take my knees out. And just because I get up every time doesn't make it all right.
Damn right. I'm talking right now. I got a couple minutes left with the homie Ben Troupe here on Troupe Talk. He's a former second-round pick of the Titans in 2004, brand new Hall of Famer in the Georgia-Florida game that just got played this past weekend. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Ben, TROUPE 84. I need to go back to the college stuff real quick. I'm sorry. I know we kind of try to do this thing in order, but I have this question that I have to ask you every week, and I never ask you for whatever reason. It sits right here in front of me every week, and it's about – and it kind of fits into what we're talking about. It's about the college targeting rule. Like, I hate it, man. I hate the college targeting rule because of the fact that, like, it's kind of hypocritical to me because in college football, if a wide receiver catches a ball and he catches the ball going to the ground, he has to be down right there because apparently college athletes aren't athletically superior enough to be able to get up and play football safely. But at the same time, a kid who's just playing aggressive football, heads collide, nothing egregious, he got to go out the game, Ben? Like, what is your take on the college target? Because I've heard people say the NFL needs to adopt that rule. Psh, come on, it's too much money. There's too much money involved.
Yeah.
What is your take, though?
Oh, man. The thing about the targeting rule is this. The people that make these rules, they're not realistic.
Boom.
You telling me that the person making the tackle needs to be cognizant of the person that he's hitting, as if to say the person that hitting isn't. It's like I'm bracing for the hit.
Right, it's a moving target.
I might lower my head. Listen, this is what targeting is. Targeting is when I have a blatant disregard for the game. I just want to do something to this play. I can care less about the play. See, targeting looks a certain way, meaning if a guy makes it, listen, it's almost like when you hit somebody, he hit him too hard. Are you serious? They got pads
That's exactly
on.
what it is.
It's like, are you serious? It's like, listen. If a quarterback lays a receiver out and he gets hit, that's on that quarterback. Yep. That defensive player's job is to lay the wood to him. Yep. To say that I'm targeting him. Listen, targeting players looks a certain way. If I got a blatant disregard for the play, if somebody's running down the field and I just try to take their legs out, that's targeting. It don't got to be helmet to helmet. But the thing about it is these people expect people to do these great form tackles in the middle of the field with people running at full speed. These two grown men, I just think it's taken away from the college game, and you penalizing players for being good football players, making football plays. I just think that, man, and then, like you said, they got to leave the game. Come on, man. Even the person getting hit know they wasn't targeted. I just think it's crazy.
Last thing I got for you, I want to talk to you about the NFL MVP. We're about halfway through the season, so I think it's a cool place to start right now. I look at guys like Matt Ryan. I like what Derek Carr is doing out there in Raiders land, despite their situation with the penalties and all that. I like Tom Brady missed 4 games, but how you gonna argue against that? And you know who else I like, Ben? I like Ezekiel Elliott. I like Ezekiel Elliott in the MVP race. What you think about that 4? And if you what changes can you make to that 4?
I love those 4. Tom Brady's still Tom Brady. I think Roger Goodell is his fuel right now. I think Ezekiel Elliott is benefiting from an incredible offensive line. Even great quarterback play from Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. Matt Ryan, man, is playing out of his mind. I mean, you look at what he was able to do yesterday, despite Julio Jones not even catching any pass in the second half, only 29-yard passer. But I think my front runner is Derek Carr. Yeah. When you look at the fact that the Oakland Raiders they have a culture of losing. It's a culture out there of losing. And for him to be able to come in and take the reins, really putting the team on his back, doing whatever he has to do to win games, I just think that he is the guy that can really take them to the next level, despite a subpar defense. Because the stud's supposed to be on the defensive side, and they ain't earning their money up until this point. But I just think because I expect that from Tom Brady, because Matt Ryan has shown this in the past, Ezekiel is benefiting from the best offensive line. I think Derek Carr is doing more with less, especially with the fact that I got to be able to carry a defense. Because the funny thing is this: they keep on getting all these penalties like they did last week. The different Seattle, when they won the Super Bowl, they led the league in penalties, but unfortunately they had the best defense. Mm-hmm. Derek Carr don't got the best defense. He just got a defense. I just think that right now he's playing out of his mind, man, and 500 yards passing, 500 yards passing. I don't care against who it is. That young man right now is my front runner. Take nothing away from those other 3, though.
That's right. Ben, I want to extend, man, my congratulations to you, brother. Not many people get to experience what you experience and be one of the best to ever do something, man. And like I mentioned earlier, brother, you're a good guy. And when good things happen to good people, it makes me smile, my man. And we'll talk again next week. We'll talk about who we got this weekend. We got LSU Bama this weekend.
Oh man, LSU Alabama, man. You know what? It's not the games we expect to be good. It's the ones we don't expect. They end up being some good.
Right. I'm sitting there looking at like your man Lamar against UVA. Like, all right, I guess I'll sit down and watch this. Then I wasn't planning on it, but hey, it turned out to be a good game. So you're absolutely correct, my man. We'll do it again next week. Troupe Talk, homie.
Appreciate it.
Make sure you guys are following Ben, BNTROUPE 84 on Twitter and Instagram. I'm going to come back. We got to do On This Day, my daily look back into the history, into the annals of sports. And also, I'm going to continue to talk about this college basketball. It ain't that time of year yet. It ain't March yet. This college football, some of the things that we saw this past weekend. I never do get a chance to get everything in with Ben because we start BSing and talking about this and that and the other. But I do have some other news and notes type things from the weekend of college football because it's going to play a part in what you see tomorrow night when it comes down to the first BCS rankings that are coming out. We already know who number 1 through 4 are, but then there's some guys, some teams that are going to be, kind of creeping on the come up. They're going to be just hanging around, waiting for some people to take some L's. Or if you're a team like, let's say, Ohio State, with the opportunity to give one of those top 4 teams an L. So we'll talk about all that, do on this day, all that kind of stuff on the other side of the break. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, live on TuneIn, and OneMicWithBigMike.com as well.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at OneMicWithBigMike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
I'm in almost every school bus and classroom. I go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm 1 out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we can grow up to be whatever we want. I want to grow up to be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. There's enough food in this country to feed everybody. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One Mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One Mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic. Right here on Spreaker.com for a Monday. We're getting through it, man. We about halfway through. Getting ready for some Monday Night Football. Maybe. I don't know if I'm partake. It's the Bears, Cuz, and Jay Cutler, and they taking on the Vikings. That don't really wet my whistle. We got some NBA basketball tonight, so I might check out that. The Hawks. Boogie Cousins is in the building, so we get to see that badass Kings team play the Hawks tonight. I think it is, right? It's Boogie and tonight 7:30. It's going on right now, so I might turn on over to that while I'm talking to y'all. Don't forget, I'm being heard on Spreaker.com. I'm also on the Spreaker app. That's SPREAKER.com. And the app for all your mobile devices. You can find it in your app store, Google, Android, or whatever, Apple, Windows. I'm also on the TuneIn app. And, of course, on the website, OneMicWithBigMike.com. The show is also being heard, or can also be heard, on demand on all 4 of those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube, where you can also catch the video stream, the on-demand version of the video stream that's live right now on Facebook Live, facebook.com/ the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. And make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. And text the show with all your thoughts and comments and all those goofy things. Somebody texted me some fish earlier. That's pretty cool. You can text me at 404-902-8104. You can jump on in my live interactive chat room like the homie Emmett Bean has. You got to do that. To do that, you have to be listening via Spreaker or the app or my website, and just click on the little thought bubble icon, and boom, you up in there. While you're sitting there clicking on that thought bubble icon, click the little heart as well to indicate that you like the show, and share me with all your friends. Invite your friends up in here. That's what we need to start doing. Like, if you're in the chat room, holler at your friends, man. Invite them in. We can all have a big party and all that kind of stuff. You can also leave comments below the streaming video on Facebook as well. It's that time of the show where I take you guys back in time, and I do this little thing we call On This Day.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
All right, short and sweet today. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to do like the whole 2 hours today. That's like my daily thing that I do, and it always ends up being 2 hours. On this day in 1950, Earl Lloyd of the Washington Capitals, he became the first African-American to play in an NBA game. A little black history going on here with On This Day today. I like when that happened. On this day in 1987, the first jockey to win 9 races in one day, his name was Chris Antley. He did it at the Belmont. I always mention these jockey things because I always want to remind you guys to go Google the term jockey syndrome, and it'll tell you a lot about the direction that sports has gone in this country, and why some things are the way they are. I'll just leave it at that. And finally, on this day in 2010, the first time in Major League history, 2 former presidents attended the same World Series game. George H.W. Bush and, of course, his son, George W. Bush, both attended Game 4 at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington, Texas. That was my homie, Uncle Ron. Old dopehead, cocaine head Uncle Ron was out there coaching them boys then, wasn't he? And that is your Monday edition of On This Day. Told you, it was short and maybe not so sweet, but it was short. Now, a couple of things I want to tie up here with this NFL conversation, and then we'll move on to the world of college football. The homie Josh Gordon just got out of rehab again. I think, did I mention this on Friday that Alden Smith is out too, and he's he's applied for reinstatement back into the league. They don't know what they're going to do with Josh Gordon. You know what I mean? Because he's been missing for a couple of years now, a couple of seasons, and the Browns were said to be wanting to trade him, but who's going to trade for him? And they've already kind of put it out there that they've moved on from him. So why would I trade for him if you're going to end up cutting him anyway, and I can just bring him in for a tryout and see what he's got if I'm another team? And to me, this is a perfect timing for him. Like, while everybody's running around about this, what's the kid's name? Josh Brown situation, and the sexual, what is it called? Not sexual, the domestic abuse. Yeah, it's a perfect time for me to come back and was like, all right, come on, man, y'all let that dude in the league. And he beat up on women. I just like to smoke that funny, that wacky tobacco. You guys got to let me back in. So I think this is the perfect time for him and Alden Smith. Speaking of Smith, Alex Smith. I don't know if y'all saw the game yesterday, but he took a couple of hits yesterday. And not necessarily hits, but he hit his head on the ground in the second one. I didn't see the first one, but I think it was similar. And he had to leave the game. What's my man's name? Nick Foles came in, threw a couple touchdown passes. Almost pissed me off because Alex Smith was my fantasy quarterback yesterday, but because I'm a G like that, I went on ahead, DeMarco Murray and what's my man's name? Amari Cooper helped me ride on into the sunset with another victory. So, there's that. If you guys noticed, well, I haven't mentioned it, but Renee is not doing any bragging today, any fantasy football bragging. I'd let you guys kind of decipher why that is. Them bye weeks come at your ass fast, don't they? Anyway, so yeah. Apparently today, though, the report is that he was asymptomatic for concussion. Go figure, right? I already mentioned the Bengals and the Redskins. They had that second tie in a week for the NFL, and everybody wanted to lose their mind. But I'm asking the question of the day, brought to us by sportsnewsandbrews.com. Why? Why do you care? If you're not a Bengals fan, if you're not a Redskins fan, why do you care? If the football is decent, and it was mildly decent. Josh Norman had some gripes with the referees, caught a couple of illegal hands penalties with AJ Green, but he's that Richard Sherman type of corner, man. Like, I think he's more athletic than Richard Sherman, but he's handsy, man. He's long and tall and one of those like grabby guys, man. That's part of his game. So when you take that away, it ends up looking bad. Like, you got a guy like AJ Green. He makes a lot of people look bad. So to couple that with the calls that weren't being had, yeah, it's another thing. I mentioned Ezekiel Elliott in the last segment when I was talking to Ben Troupe about him being in the MVP race, and his I guess backfield mate Dak Prescott had a big, what I want to call a primetime game yesterday against the Eagles, and it started off kind of shaky for the kid. Some of the throws that he was making were ill-advised. But here's the thing too: what you got to realize is that Eagles defense has shown themselves not to be no slouchy ass defense. It's like a pretty decent NFL defense, and for what it's worth, A couple things I noticed in the ball game. The amount of times that Jason Garrett and Scott Linehan had that kid throwing the football, it's like, come on, man. Why do you got them? Why you got them fat dudes up front, as good as they are, and that kid wearing number 21? Why? You know, he was getting chunks too, cause it wasn't even like these little like pity pat, up into the line. Nah, he was getting chunks on this Eagles defense, and for what it's worth, like I don't care how many people they put in the box. Make them stop it first. And then you saw some of the play action stuff he was able to hit to Desmond Bryant came back for the first time in a couple weeks off that kneecap fracture and the thumb that he cut, making soup and all that kind of stuff, to play very well yesterday. Played very well to the point. Jerry Jones is he's gonna keep pushing this off, and he probably should. This Tony Romo thing, just keep pushing it off until somebody makes you make a decision. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, you got something good going on. Whatever it is, whatever you think about the kid and, how he's, in his perfect situation, whatever you want to say, it's still something good, because we saw last year guys who had played ball in the NFL, Brandon Whedon and Matt Castle. We saw these dudes not win a damn thing last year with the same offensive line. Of course, Ezekiel Elliott wasn't there, but it was a 1,000-yard rusher back there. I mean, Darren McFadden, He ran for a G, which ain't nothing. I'm ashamed of myself for saying that, because I'm the main one that says, nah, 1,000 yards in the NFL ain't what it was when they was playing 12 games. Like 1,000 yards now is like 67 yards, I think, something like that. 60-something yards a game, and nobody's losing their damn mind over the running back that got 60 yards in a ball game. So then there's Josh Brown. I just mentioned him a little while ago. Josh Brown, the kid. The guy who beat up on his wife like 20-something times is what she reported, and then they found his journal, which he talked about, keeping her as a slave and treating her like a slave and all this kind of stuff. And today, the Giants, who had to go over to London last week, finally had some media availability, and now nobody want to talk about Josh Brown. Jerry Reese, the man who made the decision to re-sign this dude when he was a free agent, now you don't want to talk about it. Right? Coach McAdoo don't want to talk about. I saw the story also, man, that Tim Hasselbeck, apparently his brother shared, they were neighbors. He was neighbors with the Browns. And homeboy's wifey was like, she came to, what's his name? Tim Hasselbeck, and then there's Matt Hasselbeck. She came to Matt Hasselbeck and his wife about the abuse or whatever, and apparently nothing came from it. So Tim Hasselbeck was on WEI with Kirk Minahan and Jerry Callahan, and they kind of grilled him about it, man. And my man was getting all defensive about it, and inevitably they hit him with it so much. The final exchange goes like this. Minahan said, quote, "It sounds to me, Tim, like you don't think Molly Brown is telling the truth." Molly Brown being Josh Brown's ex-wife, and you're sort of dancing around it. Is that fair to say? Then Hasselbeck comes back and says, quote, "All I'm saying, if there's something that's been said that isn't true, then how do you believe it?" End quote. I don't know what the hell that means. Then Minahan says, "Do you think she's lying?" Point blank. Do you think she's lying? Hasselbeck comes back and said, this is Tim, by the way. Quote, "Listen, I don't know every part of the situation, but I know that claim about relating to my brother is completely false." End quote. See, I hate when people say stuff like that. Like, you start off with "I don't know," but then give this definitive answer. Like, I don't know, but I know it's a complete lie. How? If you don't know everything, he starts off saying, "I don't know every part of their situation." Then how do you know there's a lie? Yeah, like, people need to back off that, man. Like, that might be your man and all, but sometimes you got to walk away from your man. Like, you find out your man is beating up on his woman and all this kind of stuff, you got to bounce. Quickly, let me run down the scores real quickly before I move on to this college basketball situation. Also, there was one last thing. Sorry. Oh, that Andre Johnson retired. My lasting memory of Andre Johnson, with all the great catches that he made and all the yards that he compiled, was that day that Cortland Finnegan thought that Andre Johnson was that guy. Cortland Finnegan thought Andre Johnson was that dude, the F-wit, and yeah, he had to catch them hands. You can Google it. Andre Johnson, Cortland Finnegan. Have fun if you don't remember it. Yeah, that boy started ripping. It wasn't a regular football fight either. Helmets came off and hands were felt. This is the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com, by the way. Download the Spreaker app for all your mobile devices, as well as the TuneIn app, because I'm live there as well. As on my website, onemicwithbigmike.com, you can join a live interactive chat room and the conversation that I'm having by clicking on that little thought bubble that you see on the Spreaker streaming player. It's also available on my website. Just click on that thought bubble icon. You'll be up in the chat room. You can also text the show at 404-902-8104 or leave your comments below the live streaming video on Facebook Live, where I'm streaming live video, facebook.com/1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. The scores. That's where I was, right? Okay, so yesterday the Jaguars lost. Not yesterday, I'm sorry, Thursday, in that horrendous crap. 22-36. I mentioned the Bengals and the Redskins tied in London, 27-27. The Chiefs beat the Colts 30-14. What are the Colts now? What is their damn record? They suck, dude. The Cardinals lost again to the Panthers. The Colts are 3-5. Cardinals are 3-4-1. The Panthers are 2-5. The Raiders beat the Buccaneers in overtime on an overtime touchdown from Derek Carr. He threw for like 500,000 yards. No, it's like 516 or something like that, 513. I mentioned earlier the Seahawks losing to the Saints, who are 3-4 right now, right behind the Atlanta Falcons. Sorry. Mixing seasons up. They lost that game 20-25. The Lions lose. They stopped their win streak 13-20. They lose to the Texans. Texans were at home. Jim Caldwell as a coach, my goodness gracious. Yeah, he's bad. He's a bad coach, man. And for many a different reason, dude. He's like the black Jason Garrett. He's like an empty suit, dude. The Patriots took out their frustration of that shutout loss that they experienced when Jacoby, I forgot the boy's name already. The black quarterback for the Patriots when they got shut out by the Bills. The Jets, look at that, 31-28 over the winless Browns. Got the Chargers losing a close one to the Broncos. Phillip Rivers, 3 interceptions in that game. I think it was 3. Then last night, of course, I mentioned the Cowboys in overtime. Dak Prescott hitting Jason Witten for the final touchdown in overtime to beat the Eagles, to put them at 6-1, firmly above on top of the NFC East. And then the Falcons always lead them for last. 1-point victory over the Green Bay Packers. And here's the thing about this, and I wish I had more time to ask Ben Troupe this question. Like, I wanted to ask him, like, which team between the Falcons and the Raiders, like, which team is the most sustainable? Because it's this thing with the Raiders and all these penalties. I don't know that you necessarily fix that in season. But then I look at the Atlanta Falcons, and every week I look at this team and I say, man, the quarterback, he has to play a perfect game for them to win. He's playing these perfect games. Look at that, a 1-point victory. This is against, like, no one you know from the Packers played yesterday. Julius Peppers, defensively, that's it. Then, like, Eddie Lacy's gone. His backup is gone. They just cut Al Davis today. I guess they figured we don't need no damn running back. Jordy Nelson was out there, but Randall Cobb wasn't. It was like a mash. I got the list here of all these cats. No Clay Matthews as well. Ty Montgomery wasn't there. Like, all these cats missing, and then the Falcons decided they wanted to win by 1 point. You know, Matt Ryan, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, but again, no interceptions. They weren't able to intercept Aaron Rodgers either. Defensively for the Falcons, Vic Beasley and Morris Claiborne. He's hurt right now. What the hell is that boy's name? Claiborne for the Falcons. Anyway, he and Vic Beasley have combined for 10 sacks in the last 4 games. I want you guys to notice something too. Falcons fans, notice this about Vic Beasley. Vic Beasley got another sack yesterday, but in the way he got it was that he was a spy. He was spying Aaron Rodgers, and when Aaron Rodgers stepped into the pocket, he just stepped up and tackled him. And a lot of the other ways that they're getting Vic Beasley free is with games. They're running like these tackle in stunts to get Vic Beasley inside, and that is because he doesn't have an inside move. Like, he consistently gets run past the quarterback, the launch point of the quarterback, without a counter move, and that's all these offensive tackles are doing to him. They're just waiting on him, letting them use his speed, and they're using it against him and allowing that's why Claiborne is able to get those sacks in the middle, because these quarterbacks are stepping up, and usually they were stepping up and there would be nobody there. You saw the first game against Jameis Winston. No one's there. Now you got a little inside pressure, they're able to collect a couple of sacks from those inside guys. So we'll see how that plays out throughout the season. But I thought that was an interesting thought. When I look at the Raiders, a team that's in first place, and I look at also, damn it, I didn't mean to do that. When I also look at the Falcons, a team that's in first place, and I think to myself, like, okay, which one of these teams do I really trust? And I don't know. To be honest with you, I can't decipher from either one of them. The standings quickly: the Patriots are ahead of the AFC East at 7-1. The Steelers, without Ben Roethlisberger, still holding in there at 4-3. They were on bye this weekend on top of the AFC North. The AFC South is led by the Houston Texans at 5-3. The AFC West, the Oakland Raiders, like I mentioned, at 6-2, tied with the Broncos atop the AFC West. The Dallas Cowboys are at 6-1, of course, above the NFC East. The NFC North, where the Vikings, having experienced their first loss last week, and the Atlanta Falcons are 5-3 above the AFC South, and the NFC West features the Seattle Seahawks at 4-2-1. Above the NFC West. All right, moving on to college basketball. I keep saying that, don't I? I need a shock collar every time I say college basketball when I mean college football. Moving on to the world of college football. This past weekend, we got to see some things. Michigan, I'm sure, Renee and all the other Michigan State weirdos was like, yes, after that first drive. But then Michigan happened, and Jabril Peppers happened. Jabril Peppers, man, that kid, I don't know what's going to happen as far as this whole, Heisman Trophy thing goes. I mean, right now, Lamar Jackson is the clear front runner for it. But we'll see, because Jabril Peppers still got an opportunity to do some special things against Ohio State. And I'm sure his coach, Jim Harbaugh, who's already a polyform in the case of the Heisman, He's going to put him in some positions to make some things happen in the punt return game, on offense, and, of course, on defense. He's going to be the man, getting behind the line of scrimmage, trying to intercept some balls, all that kind of stuff. So as far as that kind of stuff goes, Jabril Peppers, he's just a damn football player, man. And I love dudes who play football. You can't really define what they're going to be. It's not really a situation where you can start talking about how the kid's going to perform at the next level and all this kind of stuff. Don't know. Don't care. Right now, I think the kid is crazy special. We saw Clemson escape from Florida State. You heard me talk about it. A couple of things during this game that were disturbing to me, as far as from the Florida State standpoint. Your man, I want to call him Taj Boyd so bad. DeAndre, what's that boy's name? Watson. Threw a couple picks in the game, but they still were able to pull it out. This kid, DeAndre Francois, though, my goodness. This is the thing I'm talking about. These kids ain't getting no money, you know what I mean? But this kid they going to kill this kid on this football field. I'm watching this kid talk about his ears ringing. And they like, yeah, all right, get back in there. Because the other kid behind him, they put him in the game last week. I think he threw an interception. Or maybe the week before last, put him in the game. They was like, nah, you about to get your concussed ass back in the game, Francois. No questions asked. Then there's the Jimbo Fisher penalty. When Dalvin Cook, who, by the way, a lot of people are putting back in the Heisman race, I don't know. I think he's a special running back, but I think that time is come and gone for him to be mentioned in the Heisman race. But anyway, he breaks off this 60-yard run, and Jimbo Fisher loses his crap. In a big emotional game like that, someone has to be the sense of calm. And so many times these college coaches, man, they try to make themselves the show. You see a couple of Butch Davis and these cats, and right here down here in Georgia, Kirby Smart, and these kids try to make themselves a show. Nick Saban, these guys try to make themselves a show when in reality, come on, man, ain't nobody here to see you. The other day, it was so crazy to watch these cats on TV justify Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh can make $10 million this year. I think he's got some incentives or whatever. He's making a base of $9 million. And I think it'll max out at $10 million this year for him. Now, I ain't mad at it. Get your money, man. But the same justification you make for Jim Harbaugh making $10 million a year, you can't then turn around and tell me that these kids don't deserve no money. Because when you start talking about, look at the value he brings to the program. Look at the profile of Michigan now that Jim Harbaugh is there. All things that I'm not going to argue. Those are points that I can't argue. No one can. But also, I would venture to say that Jabril Peppers brings something to the table too. You know what I mean? Like straight up. But that argument will get shut down easily because of amateurism. Missed me with the bull, man. Washington got past Utah. And Washington got this nice tailback, and I can't think of his name, and I forgot to look it up before I came on the air. They got a nice tailback. Now, we always talking about, you heard me for some weeks now talking about Jake Browning, man. That tailback they got is nice, and I'm thinking he's the one who returned the punt to win them the ball game. And in a very, I mentioned this on Friday, man, it was going to be a slugfest. Utah got all them Samoan kids and them native kids playing for them big-ass, strong-ass kids. They don't play. They don't play them games. They might not win a bunch of games every year, but they'll whoop your ass on the football field. They'll make you feel it. And for the most part, Washington felt they got a pretty nice little easy ride. I think they still got to play SC and Washington State. They got a nice little ride to the Pac-12 championship. And it may even afford them the ability to lose a game if they can win the Pac-12 championship and end themselves up in the top 4 still being from the Pac-12 this year. Even though the Pac-12 is down, those wins against Oregon and Stanford, at this point, who cares? They're both terrible teams this year. But for what it's worth, Chris Peterson got them boys out there playing some hellified football. I've mentioned Louisville and UVA, a game in which Louisville was I think favored by like 30 points. UVA came, and you know what they did? They did what people used to do to Mike Vick, that muddle rush trying to keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket. But he showed him at the end, I can make throws, cuz this arm ain't just for show. And then he made a nice 29-yard throw at the end of the game to seal the victory for them in a game that shouldn't have been that close. And we're going to see tomorrow how that affects their rankings in this first BCS, because they're still alive. They're still alive in the ACC, even though they lose the tiebreaker to Clemson with that loss down at Death Valley. Wisconsin, they gave Nebraska their first loss. That was another game that was like boom, 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 right? A big, heavy-hitting game. Had a bunch of, had a couple, jackasses in the stands. They had like a noose. They had Donald Trump with a noose around President Obama. I don't know, what is it? Not a statue. What is it called? A dummy, a doll of President Obama, and people lose their mind. Oh, that's so disrespectful and this, that, and other. Like, when is this stuff gonna stop surprising y'all? That people do stuff like that, and then the thing you end up doing is I feel stupid giving them time on my show right now. You start making these people into celebrities, and they ain't shame. You're not gonna shame them. They proud they did that. But, everybody's like, that's the most, oh, God, I can't be, it's so offensive. Get over yourselves, man. People are idiots. You know what I mean? And here's where I can't be a hypocrite. In America, you got a right to be an idiot. That's their right to express themselves that way, because we've seen it before. We've seen coaches. It just happened to not be the first black president of the country's history. We've seen coaches being hung in effigy and things like that. For whatever reason, people do that ridiculousness, and black people stop just associating lynching to your history, to our history. It's not something that's just exclusive to the history of black people. Lynching was a form of death going way, way back. So all that emotion, I don't know. Do what you want to, but the more your attention you give stupid people, the more you encourage it. Like my mom used to say that about me. Like, when I be trying to show out and make people laugh, don't encourage him. They said about me in class, my teachers, don't encourage him. Didn't matter. I was a funny-ass dude as a kid. Where am I at? And in Auburn. Oh, my God. Auburn has this running back. I don't know where they found this damn kid. Cameron Petway. He's like a 1990s running back. He got the neck roll on, and he's like not fat. He's like 240, and still he can run fast. That kid alone, him and the quarterback that they found out there now, because Jeremy Johnson ain't doing nothing. I don't even know if he get on the field anymore. They gonna make this Iron Bowl an interesting watch, I think. If they can control the ball game, running the football, and make some timely plays like we've seen in a lot of these Iron Bowls. They just make timely plays. Returning a kick from 107-8 yards away. Yeah, things like that just seem to happen in these rivalry games, these Iron Bowl games. Lastly, in the world of college football, I'm going to talk about, my Heisman. Lamar Jackson is number one. Then Jabril Peppers, Jake Browning, the kid from Washington, is on my list. And then this kid that I haven't seen play that I'm going to get online and watch him before Wednesday, Donnell Pumphrey, is showing his ass off out of San Diego State, a running back that not a lot of people are paying attention to, including myself. But when I see this kid reeling off 200-yard games, I got to pay attention. You feel me? I got to see what's popping. All right, so when I come back, last thing I want to talk about tonight before I get out of here, and I truly may not make it till 9 o'clock tonight. I want to talk about the story that I saw. I'm going to give you guys the NBA games for the night, and then I want to talk about the story I saw that relates to NBA, former NBA players and them getting into the marijuana business, and a story about a couple of dudes that you guys may know. So I'll do that next right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Don't forget I'm being heard on Spreaker.com, SPREAKER.com, the Spreaker app. Tune in and One Mic with Big Mike. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number one MIC, WITHBIGMIKE, and you can text the show at 404-902-8104. I'll be right back.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Hey everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go!
Hey, started from the bottom, now we're here. Hey, started from the bottom, now my home team been here. Hey, you know what? Speaking of starting from the bottom, next week, it's actually next Saturday, so I won't be here. Next Saturday on the 5th will be a year. 1 year for the One Mic with Big Mike show. Yeah, we made it. I guess, I don't know, we made it to something. A benchmark, or what do they call it? A tent pole. The 1 year mark for the One Mic with Big Mike show is November 5th, Saturday. So we'll do a show on the 4th. Don't know what's gonna happen. Probably just be a regular, average show like this one is, and everybody will go home. I'm here at Spreaker.com for another, 26 minutes or so. Also on the Spreaker app and on TuneIn. You can also catch me on the website, onemicwithbigmike.com, live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock. I usually go to around 9. Not sure if I'm going to make it tonight, but yeah, we'll see where we go. Also, you can catch the show on demand on all 4 of those outlets, as well as on iTunes. Make sure you subscribe. iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music. Make sure you, follow me on Google Play Music, so you can get the alerts when I post a new episode. You get an alert. And subscribe to the YouTube as well, because we got to get 100 before they give us a URL or something like that. So, yeah, subscribe to the YouTube, One Mic with Big Mike. You can catch these, the live video on demand. It won't be live, of course. It'll just be on demand. And you can catch the audio there as well. There's a section for the video and a section for the audio if you just don't want to look at my ugly mug, but you want to hear my stupid thoughts anyway. I got something for everybody, huh? The NBA tonight. Right now, I'm getting a glance at the Kings and the Hawks. Looks like the Kings are losing to the Hawks down here at Phillips Arena. Also going on right now, the Bulls taking on that bum-ass Nets squad. The Nuggets, who have shown themselves to be an all right team, are up in Canada taking on the Raptors. And then later on The Clippers take on the Suns. The Suns almost beat the Warriors on Saturday. I saw some of that. Tomorrow's the end of the free league pass, NBA league pass. So get as much as you can today. And then tomorrow, real quick, got a bunch of games on the slate. The Rockets and the Cavaliers. Boom, I'm there for that. The Cavaliers actually moved that game up, you know what I mean, for the World Series to try to look out for the fans so they can get a chance to, peep both situations or whatnot. The Lakers and the Pacers tomorrow. Get to see D'Angelo Russell and Jordan Clarkson and Paul Pierce do their thing. Jeff Teague is up in that joint now. The Magic and the 76ers. Kings and the Heat. The Knicks and the Pistons. The Bucks and the Pelicans. The Grizz and that upstart Timberwolves squad. The Jazz and the Spurs. And then at 10 o'clock, boy, I love me some good point guard. I love a good point guard match up, man. The Blazers, Dame Lillard. I don't know if you guys been peeping what Dame been on, because you probably been peeping what Russ been on. Like, Russ is on some. Y'all gonna respect that dude, man. Russ Westbrook. But yeah, you get to see Dame Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers. Him and C.J. McCullough take on the Warriors. The Warriors got to go to Rip City with Steph and KD and Draymond and who am I missing? Did I say Klay already? Klay Thompson. They take the act on the road to the Trailblazers, man. That thing that's going on in Oklahoma City, it's real, cause that boy had 50 plus in a triple double. Ain't nobody doing that. Like Oscar Robinson was the last one or somebody. Yeah, cause. Like where do I have his average some here? His early season average. Yeah. Russ is at 39, 12, and 12. Thank you very much. And people are gonna be like, he took 44 shots. Who cares? Again, if you're not an Oklahoma City Thunder fan and you just a basketball fan, this is all about appreciation, dude. This dude be grinding. Like years and years now, my man, like Callaway has always said, when I'm going to get them Russell Westbrook shirts made, because I was on Russ when everybody was like, oh, he's got to be a real point guard. He can't survive that way, blah, 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 blah. Whatever, dude. That dude balls. He get his man on every night, man. Like, the one thing that's not going to happen as a basketball fan, you're not going to get disappointed by his effort. Like, Russ is going to always be the same cat that's going to make you be like, damn, Russ. But then he's also going to be the cat that be like, damn, Russ. Like, you know what I mean? He's going to impress you and make you just wow, your jaw hit the ground. But then he's going to also do something, and those moments have become, fewer and further between as he's gotten older in the league. The moments that make you be like, damn, cuz, what the hell was that? And for my money, yeah, in my entertainment, for the entertainment value, I'm going Russ, man. Russ and Dame Lillard and Steph, all them dudes, man. And I don't give a damn what, look at field goal percentage. Don't care. Don't care at all. I told you guys I'm going to tell you about this situation. Like, if you're not on the Undefeated, if you're somebody like me who like to read things and not always be told information and be, because people can lead you astray to ESPNs of the world, which, by the way, I saw an article today that, like, their money is going down, man. Like, the subscribers every month, like hundreds of thousands of subscribers are leaving ESPN, you know what I mean, by the month. And it's costing, like, a lot of money. It's going to end up being a trickle-down effect to us as cable subscribers. But that's the other thing that's leaving, too. Cable subscribers, people who subscribe to satellite and cable, they're bouncing, too. I told you guys I was going to tell you guys about this article in Undefeated, which I do, man, definitely always recommend that you guys give it a gander. ESPN's, Jason Whitlock was supposed to be heading up, and they fired his ass. That probably made it 10 times better. But it's kind of like they're looking to a lot of the racial side of sports and some of the other topical things that don't necessarily get mentioned by the normal ESPN, the magazine and stuff. Like, for example, this article here, retired NBA vets are making legal marijuana the new pick and roll. I like it. The homie who wrote the article, his name is Justin Tinsley. And the description, or I guess, I don't know, his byline. Justin Tinsley is a cultural is a culture and sports writer for The Undefeated. He firmly believes Cash Money Records taking over for the 9-9 in the 2000 is the single most impactful statement of his generation. You can't even be mad at that dude for that at all. That's one of the most ratchet things I've ever read, and it's awesome. So anyway, the story starts off talking about Viola Harrington. You say, who the hell is Viola Harrington? I'll tell you guys in just a second. Viola Harrington, well, you can tell by her name, Viola. No one since 1950, 40 has been named a Viola. So anyway, she has something to do with Proposition 64, which would legalize marijuana in California for recreational use, and is expected to win in a landslide vote on November 8th. That's when people vote, right? She suffers from a condition, pressure on her eyes, and is brought on by glaucoma. Now, why is she important? Well, she is the grandmother of former NBA forward Al Harrington. You guys know Al Harrington, right? Played for the Nuggets. I think Al Harrington played for the... Did he play for the Bobcats or the Hornets, and also played for the Pacers, maybe? I think. Yeah, and maybe a couple other teams. You know how these NBA cats do. They play for like 17 teams before they bounce. But anyway... Al proposed to his grandmama, Miss Viola, that she hit the old wacky tobacco, the old puff puff pass. And here's her quote, quote unquote, boy, I ain't smoking no marijuana, end quote. And I hope I'm articulating that properly. But because her pain, the pressure behind her eyes was so intense, like a lot of people, what are you going to do? You're going to be like, look, I'll try it. If it's going to help with the pain, let me just try it. So, yeah, Grandma Viola, she rolled up, cuz, and went at it. And then after about an hour, Al went back and he checked on her, and she had tears in her eyes, man. Here's another one of her quotes. She says, I haven't been able to read the words in my Bible for over 3 years. You know, and that's a powerful image, man. And for people who think that, like Booger McFarlane, you know, these people just want to get high. They just want an excuse to get high. And at the same time, like I mentioned earlier, the person who says that, who makes these definitive statements and then says, well, I don't know what all the science is about it. Well, then shut your dumb ass up then. Like, you're speaking out of and knowingly being ignorant, which I call stupidity. Like, when you're ignorant about something, either learn about it or shut the hell up about it. Don't have an opinion about it. People want to ask you about stuff on TV. They setting you up to look like a dumbass because you don't know the science behind it. And all it takes is to put your face on some words and just read them. Google it and read. And then if you got something, you got a beef behind it, I'll always say this. If you don't agree with the current science, show me yours. Show me yours, because that's how the intellectuals do. You know what I mean? They say, I don't agree with this finding. Here's my finding. And if you don't have one, once again, shut the hell up. So anyway, after this goes on, Al, you know, he's still playing. Then he had to have surgery. And the surgery left him sick, and he had staph infection and all that. And then somebody brought to his attention this thing called a black pill. A black oil pill, I'm sorry. It's a popular CBD that reportedly helps with pain relief and reduces inflammation. So he went on and tried, and it was like, damn, it works. It helps. So he did the same thing that I'm usually talking about. And if you ever heard my interview with Ruben Drones, man, you can go back. All my interviews and everything is archived on Spreaker, on the Spreaker app, on TuneIn, OneMicWithBigMike.com. It's all archived, man. You can go back and listen to my interview with Ruben Drones and hear him talk about, you know, the pills he had to take, and how when he finally found marijuana, how, you know, sometimes the fear of doing something because of all the head injuries has subsided because he found medical marijuana. You can go to Viceland and look at my man Krishna on Viceland, Wiedekit, when he's talking to Eugene Monroe, who hopefully we can get on the show here at some point in the next year. You know, the show has grown a little bit. Maybe we got a little bit more pull. We can start talking to some more people. But he's got a crazy story, too, and he's a big advocate of marijuana use for head trauma, for the information purposes, like Al Harrington is talking about in this This article I'm reading here. It also talks about projections forecast that the infant industry, the marijuana industry, could be valued at $44 billion by 2020, talking about the growth. And I watch a lot and I read a lot about this stuff. And here's what I think is going to happen, because it's already kind of happening. The people who sell weed now, like your local weed man, even when this stuff, when I say not if, it becomes legalized in this country, they still going to be able to lock that MFer up. You know, it's the same way you can't just sell cigarettes. There's like copyright stuff involved and all that kind of stuff. There's going to be an industry. And there is an industry, by the way. There is an industry. And if you guys know anything like I know, it costs millions of dollars to be a part of the legal marijuana business. You got to have all kind of permits. You got to have all kind of, you got to pay off all kind of people, not like illegally, but it costs like a lot of money that your average weed dude don't have. So these people are going to still be selling their weed the way they sell their weed now, unless it just becomes non-cost effective. And I don't really see that happening, because people are going to still, want to do what they want to do, right? And then they still going to be able to, because I've always asked the question, like, what's going to happen when they make weed legal to all these cats that's, that's in jail right now for like weed possession and all that kind of stuff? They still going to keep their ass in there. And I think that's one of the stumbling blocks right now to this whole legalizing weed thing, because the science is the science, man. I was looking at something the other day, and they was talking about how, we're still collecting data and all this kind of stuff. So my question is, if you still collecting data on this plant, why is it a Schedule I drug then? Like, if you don't have all the data yet, funny, right? I'll tell you why. And this article kind of spells it out. And way back in the day, a dude named Harry Anslinger, he's a former railroad cop, a prohibition agent, and law and order evangelist. You know what that means. He was named America's first drug czar. This was in 1930. And because it was 1930, my man used race as a trump card to in his quest to outlaw marijuana. Here's what he said. Here's a quote from the homie. Reefer makes the darkies think they are as good as white men. The primary reason to outlaw marijuana is the effect on the degenerate races. Most are Negroes, Hispanics, Filipinos, and entertainers. Because, of course, I believe racists think entertainers are a race of people. Their satanic music, jazz, and swing result in marijuana use. This marijuana causes white women to seek sexual relationships with Negroes, entertainers, and many others, end quote. Well, I mean, the last part about the white women and the entertainers and the Negroes, he may have a point. I'm just saying. No. But anyway, this is kind of what the start of all this stuff that we're seeing now. You see all these brothers in jail, locked up, for weed and all this kind of stuff. And for all the progress that people like you to think this country has made, nah, cuz a lot of the things that are going on right now, guess what, are rooted in that mentality still. Oh, this weed gonna have these Negroes going crazy. We need to lock their ass up. There's some numbers here. Also, the John Sally's a part of this thing too. John Sally's a dude who talks about how he never wanted to smoke marijuana. He was under the impression, like a lot of people, that it was bad for your body and all that, until he said he did exactly what I keep talking about. He did some reading and found out for himself. He's quoted in this article as saying, "I've never had a DU high." John Sally's an idiot. But he also talked about football players. He said, if you're a football player, this is a quote, you should be allowed to smoke weed or ingest some sort of THC or CBD because of what you do. If Le'Veon Bell is Le'Veon Bell and he smokes weed, don't stop what he's doing. Like, it seems like more sensible people, and I don't necessarily know that John Sally's the most sensible people, but in this case, it applies. You know what I mean? That you see guys like Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps, Le'Veon Bell, Josh Norman, Alden Smith. These dudes smoke weed. What's my man's name? Marcel Darius. They seem to be able to do their jobs pretty well. The people who they're employed by feel that way as well, and they pay them very well. Like, why wouldn't you just cut Josh Norman? Because he's good. He likes to get high, and he can ball. You cut Johnny Manziel, he like to get high and drunk, but he can't ball. See what I'm saying? And one has nothing to do with the other one. So yeah, this article talks about the thousands of men and women of color whose lives have been altered, in some cases ruined by marijuana possession or distribution. Quote, marijuana arrests, this is per the American Civil Liberties Union, marijuana arrests now account for over half of all drug arrests in the United States. Of the 8.2 million marijuana arrests between 2001 and 2020, 88% were for simply having marijuana. Nationwide, the arrest data revealed one consistent trend: significant racial bias. You don't say. You don't say. Despite roughly equal usage rates, blacks are 3.73 times more likely than whites to be arrested for marijuana. By the way, we are 12% of the population, in case you didn't know. 12 or 13, something like that. In 2014 alone, more than 750,000 arrests in 2014 were marijuana related. In 2010, blacks in Iowa, Washington, D.C., Minnesota, and Illinois were 7.5 to 8.5 times more likely than whites to be arrested for weed, which goes back to what I said earlier, that this is coming. This legalization of weed is going to come, and all this, what am I saying? What's the word I'm looking for? The usage, the recreational usage of marijuana is coming. But if you N-words think you about to just jump in this thing, but like, bet, now we can sell it legally. Wrong. Wrong. Hell no. It's gonna turn into the liquor industry. It's gonna turn into the not marijuana, the tobacco industry. How many birds got a cigarette company? Plenty of y'all smoking them Newports and whatever. Yeah, same thing, man. Same thing, B. This is not going to be a way. I even saw a thing on television on Vice. The American Indians, the ones who have, their allotments of land, they want to start selling weed on their land, right? To help bring their people out of what I was talking about last week, out of, the terrible situations of miseducation, the alcoholism, and all that kind of stuff. But, of course, the government is like, wait, don't we have to say you can do this? And they're getting caught up in this red tape. Because once you're black or brown in this country and something presents itself in a way where you can advance and maybe even supersede the white faces, it becomes a problem. And laws start getting made, and things start getting put into place, and these roadblocks that start getting put into place where, yeah, maybe not so much. There's a number here before I get out of here. I guess I will make it to 9 o'clock. Roughly 3 dozen. That's 36 for those of you who didn't do well in math. Roughly 3 dozen of an approximately 3,200 to 3,600. I'm sorry, that's a different number. 3,200 to 3,600 dispensaries are owned by blacks. For those of you keeping count, 36 out of 3,600, the percentage is 1%. And one is a lady and her husband. I saw this on CNN. This lady and her husband are out in Colorado. This is how I know how much it costs, because you got to get like permits. You got to get like safes, because you can't put the money in the banks because it's Fed, right? Also, you got to have like 24-hour surveillance on the place, and your surveillance has to be routed to a certain governmental place where they can monitor what's going on in your place. It's like hella loot, and there's like $25,000 to even get in, to even get the paperwork. I'm saying, not saying that you'll be able to even get in and have a dispensary. They taking $25,000 off of you. From the last I checked, it was $25,000 just for you to possess the paperwork, for them to tell you yes or no. And then the real money starts after that. So you tell me how many bros is going to be all up in this like that. Not many, man. Who is this? I think this is John Sal. Last thing I got here. He talks about how athletes talk with a passion about Here are all the serious pharmaceuticals that I'm getting doped up on by a team doctor, but they're banned from taking marijuana, the one substance that a lot of people say will help them. The other thing that you guys should look at if you want to get more information on this, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, he's a doctor down here at Emory University, also does some TV stuff with CNN. We've had him on the Sports Kings before. And my man, I respect him so much as a professional because of his ability to just say, you know what, I was wrong. Like he said before about the weed and about the marijuana, let me call it marijuana or cannabis, that he was wrong. He was listening to all the negative stigma around the plant and not doing, the adequate research and not looking at the people who were not studying the people who were actually doing research on the plant. And what he found was the opposite of what he thought. And he said plain and simply that, he was wrong. And he's got 2 CNN documentaries, Weed and Weed 2. It'll knock your socks off and it'll give you a whole different perspective. Even if you're the person that says, I smoke weed. I mean, even if you're that person, but you just smoke weed because you like to smoke weed, which I'm all for it or whatever. But if you want to develop an argument for not having to sneak and smoke your weed, look at Dr. Sanjay Gupta's specials, Weed and Weed 2. All right, let's clear out the notes. Let me make sure I got everything off the plate that I need to get off the plate. Talked about the Hawks already. I'm looking at the game a little bit right now, but not really able to pay too much of attention to it. Oh, very last thing that I want to talk about. This kid, for those of you who follow baseball, and even if you don't follow baseball, you probably heard about this kid, Jose Fernandez, a pitcher for the Miami Marlins who was killed in a boating accident a couple of weeks ago. The autopsy report came back on my man, and he was found to be legally drunk based on his blood alcohol level and had cocaine in his system at the time. And then the thing that people that gets said when things like this happen, because if you saw the funeral procession and all the great things and how emotional people were following his death, people feel like this is something that's slandering his name. And I'm like, it's not really. Why he was on some coke and he was drinking? Sound like me like a dude that was having a good time, like a normal guy. You know what I mean? Like no one's saying this kid was a crackhead or an alcoholic. It just happened. So this is not slandering his name. It's just reporting the facts. And I saw some people over the weekend say, why they put this out about this dude, man? That ain't right. But here's the thing: you can't do that. You can't have everything that's reported be the things that you want, because then if news organizations started doing that, like quality news organizations started doing that, they would lose all credibility because somebody would report this stuff. You know what I mean? There's too much competition for you to be like, nah, I ain't gonna report on that. I don't feel right doing that. No, if it's the facts, it's the facts. You let people decipher it how they want to. Me, I don't believe anybody is just one thing. You know what I mean? I don't believe this dude having cocaine in his system and being drunk. I don't believe that dispels any of the any of the good things that all these people had to say about this kid and the inspiration that he gave to all those people down there in Miami and the Cuban community. And I don't think it dispels any of that. All it says is he's a regular dude. He's a young kid out on the boat having a good time, and things went awry. How many of y'all think it's the first time he did that? He went on the boat and had drinks and did a couple lines or whatever. Nah, but this time it just went awry. From my understanding, he jumped in to save his mom, is what it was, and he ended up getting undertaken. Now, the drugs and the alcohol may have led to him not being able to, to control his motor functions and survive it, but it's not one of those things like, man, they trying to say this dude was a dope fiend. Nah, it's just reporting the facts. The autopsy report came back and my man was drunk. Moving on. You know what I mean? Like everything, it feels like everything in 2016 is a conspiracy. Everything has to be like someone has an ulterior motive. And sometimes, man, people are just doing their job. I said about the Nate Parker situation with Robin Roberts. She asked the dude about the rape thing, the elephant in the room. He knows this. His PR people know this. She knows it's going to happen. And then she knows once he refuses to answer the question, she needs to follow up with a different version of the question to do her gig. But then all of a sudden, Robin Roberts is a coon and she's a clown and she's a bad person. And you know what this woman been through, cuz? You know what I mean? Anyway, I think that's it. That's everything. I've cleared out the notes. Very few times did I do that, man. Do I just like get through everything on the notes? Shout out to my man Rob Calloway once again, the author of the HBCU report every Saturday morning at 8:00. The homie was live and direct from the Magic City Classic this weekend. So big up to him for the artwork on tonight's show, man. He gave me the Cam Newton over D from What's Happening's face. I think it's hilarious and stupid and ignorant, and I love it. Shout out to Renee, the homie Emmett Bean. Appreciate you hollering at me, homie. Hope to see you back here on Wednesday. Tell your friends, man. Tell everybody you know. Go here to the Facebook situation real quick and shout out these folks. The homie Danny. Oh God, I can't see the other folks. I forgot. I can't see it. My homie Danny Gaisito. Still talking about them damn Redskins. I don't know, cuz. Tell them to be better. Tell Kirk Cousins to be better. Renee, of course, you're wonderful. Thank you. Thank you to the homie Ben Troupe. You guys get a chance, man. Jump on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram at BENTROUPE84 and congratulate the homie, man. He's a Georgia Florida game Hall of Famer. Just got inducted this past weekend. Until Wednesday, man, we're going to come back on Hump Day, talk to the homie Matt Latofsky of Sporting News about this fantasy football situation. I got a dub this weekend. Taking a bow. So we'll talk to him, man. You guys can get your questions in. Keep the number 404-902-8104 handy. And until Wednesday, you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you then.